So, good afternoon, everyone joining us from Malawi, and some are joining us from here in Scotland. My name is Nasim Vadalia. I am the Communications and Engagements Officer at the Scotland Malawi Partnership. So, happy Independence Day to our fellow Malawians and all the members and all the partners that work with Malawi. I'm sure you're having a more relaxed day in Malawi, but here we're still working. So, happy independence and relax on our behalf. So you are equally welcome to this partnership snapshot. We'll hand over shortly to our first speaker, but before I do that, I just wanted to remind those joining us on Zoom to please remain mute. This meeting is also being recorded. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer you if we have enough time. That also applies to you guys joining us on Facebook. We are happy to have you in this session. So today we are being joined by James, who is from the Turing Trust here in Scotland, and he is the CEO. And we also have Sylvester, who is joining us from Malawi, who is joining us from Computers for Enhanced Education, and he is from Malawi. You're all welcome. And we're going to hear from, firstly, James, who's going to tell us a bit about the Turing Trust. And then we'll hear from Sylvester, who's going to tell us a little bit of the Computer for Enhanced Education in Malawi. Over to you, James.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Nasim. So yes, as Nasim mentioned, I'm James Turing, the founder of the Turing Trust, which is a charity based in Edinburgh that we started in 2009. Essentially, it was started to honour my great uncle Alan Turing's legacy, aiming to support digital education globally by reusing computers in classrooms. So at the moment, we provide skills development whilst reducing waste and contributing to an environmentally friendly society. So far, we've helped over 350,000 students worldwide to start learning digital skills, which is something we're really proud of. And in doing so, we've saved over 8,000 tons of CO2 emissions by reusing those computers rather than letting them go to waste. The way we work is largely by taking PCs from in the UK, pushing those to provide them to the schools. And the big key for that is, of course, the data disruption that goes along with it. We get a lot of our donations from businesses and organizations. So making sure we can provide a secure means enabling those computers to be repurposed is absolutely vital. But we do also take donations of computers from individuals as well. Last year, we saved over 107 tons of IT equipment that otherwise would have gone to premature waste. That resulted in over 13,000 PCs being collected and processed by our team. Using our circular economy model enables us to put PCs where we think they can make the biggest impact. So just before I pass over to Sylvester, who can tell you a bit more about our specific project in Malawi, and all the impact we've made there, I just wanted to ask for everyone who's listening in today, if I can make one request, which is just to have a look around your own networks and see who is it who you know who works in large organizations or small organizations, and ask them about what they might be doing with their old IT equipment. From our perspective, it's always the case of just having that little spark of that conversation normally results in someone going, oh, really? We just throw it in the bin, to actually there's a process in place. It's really affordable in some cases. Lots of businesses actually save money by donating their computers than using another waste disposal company. So I'd just like everyone to invite everyone to have a look around their networks and say, maybe there's something better we could do. And Sylvester will tell you much more about the impact that the computers go on to make. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Computers for Enhanced Education is a local NGO in Malawi. Basically, it's built on the foundation led by the Turing Trust, whereby after the Centers of Computers of Malawi, our responsibility is to deploy those computers into secondary schools. And after deploying, we have to train teachers on how they can use computers, how they can do maintenance of the computers and others. So after that, we are responsible for maintenance of the computers. If the computers have faults in the schools, they have to bring back to us, and for maintenance, that is for sustainability. As of now, we have distributed over 12,000 computers across the country to over 400 schools across the country. This is benefiting over 160 students in those over 401 schools, including hard-to-reach areas like Rikoma, which is an island, and also Usisia, which has bad roads. So we've also reached there. And we have been able to train over 800 teachers across the country. And we've also established ICT clubs in the schools. So each school gets a minimum of 20 computers, and the number goes up depending on the size of the school, that is the number of students. Each school also gets a local area network, whereby we have a server, and then computers are connected to one server. So that server is loaded with content that is Malawian-based curriculum, so that students can be using the computer app for learning and using it as a library as well. I think in a nutshell, so we also responsible for e-waste handling. So after the end of life of those computers, we are responsible for disposing them. As of now, we have disposed over 10,000 kgs of equipments that have been considered dead, that they cannot be fixed. We send them to Dubai for e-wasting, because in Malawi we don't have facilities to recycle. Impact on the ground, I will start with what the students are able to do at the moment. I'll give an example of Mzuzu Government Secondary School, whereby they have developed a system, which is AI, that they have loaded all content of their curriculum, and then the AI decides what the students can learn. It gives them a study timetable and all that. So it's like a smart learning platform. So it is benefiting their school. And also there's another school, is Natura CDSS. This is a community-based secondary school, whereby they have a restaurant where they sell foods for generating funds for the school. So they have a website that is able, someone can order food online to be delivered by the motorbike guy. So they can watch every process online, like the order, it is in process and all that. They're able to do that. So that is the section of the impact in terms of the ICT as far as the computers are concerned. And also we have observed some girls going to University of Malawi to do ICT course, of which some we have helped with a laptop so that they can use in the university. So that is the impact of the computers that they have been given to these schools. I think in brief, I can say that is computer finance education and the partnership with Turing Trust. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've heard quite a lot from James and from Sylvester. If you still have any questions, please type them in the chat box in Zoom, put them on the chat or on Facebook, and we'll be able to answer, because we're still here for the next maybe 20 minutes and we should be able to tackle your questions. Thank you very much. And I'm sure we have all heard how they're calling in for organizations, small, big organizations, to bring in all the donations that those computers that you've been keeping, you've just been storing in the warehouse, paying a lot of cost. You can just come here at the Turing Trust. They'll be able to assist you in dropping them off. So today, while we are here, we also experimented how we can drop off a computer and what they're going to do with it. And we have Izzy and Steve who are going to show us around on just how the process goes when you bring your computers here. So I don't know, Izzy and Isabel.
Sorry, Nasim, before we go on to the tour, can I just ask one question for Sylvester? Because I thought it was very interesting with your e-waste. I think probably a lot of our members too, that is concerned when you think, are our computers, our technology just getting dumped in Malawi if it's not useful? So you're saying it goes to Dubai. I assume there's a cost factor to get those old computers and machinery to Dubai. Is that prohibited or, I mean...
Okay, yeah. So in terms of the cost factor, we have a partner who is responsible to get the e-waste in Malawi to Dubai. So that partner is 100 all the cost and all that.
Okay.
So we are not the cost part is not.
Will you allow me to chip in? So I think that's perhaps one of the biggest misunderstandings of how charities in the UK and Malawi could and should operate. You're very right. There is a huge cost factor in terms of processing all of the IT equipment before we send it to Malawi. Of course, we could absolutely stuff stuff in a container and hope for the best and send it to Malawi and say, crack on, Sylvester, make the best of it what you can. But that would be hugely inefficient and also illegal. So actually, a huge part of what we do here is processing all of the computers to make sure every item that we're sending to Malawi is in a very good condition, such that we essentially expect to have about 5 years life expectancy from each computer that we do send. Now, of course, when things get to Malawi, first of all, they get to experience a different type of dust, which is very exciting. And so when they do eventually break down, they get repaired, first of all, in C's workshop by themselves. And then eventually they might come to end of life. We can't possibly repair them any further. But I think laying that focus on, first of all, the first point of the e-waste question really has to happen in the UK of what are we doing to it here to make sure that it's going to go out in good enough condition, such that when C and the team in Malawi receive it, they can then be a valuable product to be used in the classrooms. But then making sure right at the end of life, which is normally, as I said, at least 5 years further down the line, if not much longer. I think the oldest computer we've still got working in a classroom was manufactured in 2003, which gives you an idea. It really can last a long, long time if you try. Making sure that our partners then work and recycle that equipment to ISO 14001 standards.
Great.
Great.
I'm sure some of our members might also have their partners in Malawi. Is there remit or, because I know there's probably not, people coming to Turing Trust and saying, oh, can you provide computers for our partners or our school partner or so forth directly? We'll give you the computers and it goes to them, which I could see would be a problem, but I guess maybe how that would work or why that, how that system would partnership.
Yeah, so I think that's certainly one of the challenges that we face in terms of working out what the biggest impact we can possibly make with each computer. So this is one of the reasons why we've got a strategic partnership with C to make sure that basically every device we are processing here in Edinburgh in the first place then goes on to support an average of 18 students in a Malawian classroom. But more importantly, we'll do so for a very long time. And I think that's the key in terms of, yes, we could work with hundreds and thousands of partners around the globe, but actually being very selective of who we can work with because we know that we can have that multi-year follow-up where we can then say combat issues like e-waste with the due diligence that it requires. I think that's a really good part of actually making sure you can make the most of the resources, because there are a lot of causes which are fully deserving of these, but actually because we've given partnerships, so we can do that long-term follow-up so that we can provide maintenance services over a 5-year horizon for each of the schools that we're working with. And that actually gets many, many more students to learn, because of course, it's not just the students who are in the school at the time when you drop the computers off, but new students will join every single year, helping you to make an even bigger impact.
I guess some of my questions, because I was telling Sylvester before the meeting, as I visited his colleagues down in Blantyre at the Computers for Enhanced Education depot there. So from the beginning of hearing about this partnership, I've always been impressed that there's some accountability there on behalf of the schools, and that they have to pay their maintenance cost, and that they have to be prepared to receive the donations by fortifying the room, security and obviously safe ESCOM and things like that. So just to highlight that, I guess, for our members. So did you say we have any?
We have a question online as well.
Question in the chat. Are you able to provide training, repairs, disposal, etc. for non-Turing Trust projects in Malawi? We run small-scale education projects there. And that's from Steve McKay. Oh, I can't pronounce it. Think Malawi. Sorry, Steve.
So I'm guessing that's probably not a school necessarily. Don't know.
Do you want to unmute yourself, Steve, and ask the question yourself?
Sure. Hi there. It is, the projects do typically take place in schools, in government schools in Malawi, but they are normally run by, we work with partner NGOs in Malawi who aren't necessarily, they work inside and outside of schools.
So typically the way we work is through direct partnerships with schools, so that we have the maintenance contract with the infrastructure, the building and the owners of the building who are there. We do have other projects that work with other sort of charity partnerships, universities, primary schools and things like that. But next step, I'd recommend, Sylvester, you can choose whichever, depending on which region you're in, contact one of the C team in Northern, Central or Southern, and they can kind of advise you of the options and what might work best for obviously who would be the end owner of the computers.
Great, thank you.
Yep, thank you for that. I just have one question, one quick one, for computer enhanced in Malawi, both of you anyway. So in your partnership and with how you're working in Malawi, you mentioned that you have people who are training other people how to use the computers and stuff like that. And then even you've included girls' education as well. So you're supporting girls into the university if they need laptops and computers. My question would be, have you also included people with special needs for now, or do you have that as one of the visions you have in the near future?
Okay, yeah, so because we don't have the expertise yet for that, but we have partly worked with a certain organization called Accessibility,
Okay.
where they use special keyboards for the visually impaired students, but this is focused on blind.
Okay.
So they'll load AI in the computer so that AI guides that student in terms of talking. So that keyboard is special for the person. It has only three keypads, so they're able to guide them. So they have reached out, I think, to at least maybe 5 schools. I think Steph will be collecting at least
6.
at least 6 schools. So it's something that we're working towards, but we don't have the expertise yet. So we're working with people who are already doing it on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh, great. Thank you very much for that one. Any other questions in the room online, if there's any? Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. So now we're going to join Izzy and Steve to show us around just the process of that day to day, I would say, in terms of processing all the computers, how when they receive them, what they do with them, and then to load them off to get to Malawi to Sylvester. So we're going to hear from them. Thank you. Over to you, Steve and Izzy. So you join us into the warehouse. Yes, please.
Let me hope it's correct. Hi, we're still here and we're with Izzy here and Steve will be short around. So it's over to you guys. Yep.
Lovely, welcome to the warehouse. Apologies that it's slightly busy at the moment. We are just preparing. We're going in a couple of weeks' time. So everything is being prepped and ready to go out the door. So normally this area is completely cleared for deliveries. But when stuff comes in, can I walk? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So stuff will come in like your donation this morning, which is here. It gets marked with who donated it. Sam, say hello, Sam. Hello. He will then process it. By processing it, what that means is he will count everything, he will asset tag everything, match it all up, and then he'll put it on our system. We use Salesforce here, and that's basically that we know the number of assets that arrive for every opportunity. If it's a DDC, which is a data destruction certificate, it then gets caged or created separately, and then stored separately, and everything is kept separate. Separate is the keyword for DDCs. So it comes through here.
This is about me for this morning. Oh, you're getting out the drawers.
So everything kind of comes through. Then, when it's been put onto Salesforce, it is then given a parent asset, which is a WPL or a WPD. That just means it's got a count of the assets inside it. That asset is then given a location, which is the barcodes here. So when you look on our system, you'd be able to see what asset is where and where that physically is in the warehouse, so we can find them at any time. Once they've kind of been allocated, they then go into the queue to be worked, which they're done in the room where we were having the meeting. So that's kind of the DMC room. Everything is wiped with Blanco, which I'm going to hand over to Steve to describe what Blanco does.
Okay, I'll step over here. So yeah, Blanco is the software that we use for data erasure. Blanco is the industry leading software for that. So we're very proud to have Blanco as one of our premium partners. The software runs on the computers that have been donated, and it wipes off all of the donor data. So this is the thing that we use to ensure that all of that data has been securely removed, and that we're confident that we can then reuse these devices in any projects that we want to.
And when the devices have been wiped, then we go into the other workshop where we do pre-imaging script on that script.
So yeah, so once it's been wiped, then we do some tests on it. We make sure that the hardware is working correctly, and we record information about the devices so we know exactly what they are, what the specification is. We make sure that they meet our minimum standard for what we can reuse, because as James mentioned, we don't want to be sending things with e-waste. So we have a minimum standard, which is quite strict, to make sure that this has got a good 5+ years of future use.
And when the devices are being worked in the workshop, if the volunteers have a problem with them, they will put a problem sheet on them. They will then be put into triage area here, where they are then worked by some triage trained volunteers who kind of have a slightly more extensive skill set. If they still can't fix it, then we'll go to Stephen Bride, our IT dev team, who will give it a third shot at fixing it. And if we still can't fix it, we can't use it, we will then take the RAM, take the hard drive, take whatever we can out of it. We then break it down into components and send it to our e-waste provider, who then melt it and put it back in the system. So everything is reused.
I like this Twilight Zone. I like that.
Yeah. There's stickers everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, so that's kind of when the stuff is being worked. If I put it this way, yeah. So they're running the pre-imaging script. These desktops have already been wiped. And once they're done, they then go into a cage and get sent back into the warehouse to be boxed, which I'll take you down the corridor to the box area. So this is the boxing area. This is where you get quite a lot of corporate volunteer days that come in, so big groups and corporates that come in. And they basically, the main thing that they do is box the monitors for us, because monitors need testing and then boxing up. And then they will also box the laptops and the desktops as well. So they all come through here. We got donated a whole lot of packing material and cardboard boxes, which is really lovely. So we have plenty of packing materials, enough for about a year, I reckon. And yes, so everything gets kind of tested one final time here and then boxed. And then this is the whole thing of it, and we're waiting to the final destination. And here we have this kind of all the various different cables, if you want to meet the laptops, because everything that you send has to have the right cable, the right power supply with it. Very proud of these boxes here where they have the actual connector just sticking out, so you know exactly which one you're using. And then this is the e-waste area, so this is where we've been splitting everything down into various different components, which makes it easy for them to sort of
Yeah.
Yes, when everything's kind of both everything, again, first we back in here, there's important stuff around. Has a SC on it, if you see how everything is connected, it's ready to go. I think I was saying that the quite bullet and the assessment on very short examples. And so these monitors here, yes, we look at that we're going to connect it next.
One of the differences I'd say is that here at Turing Trust, we're relatively, sorry, I'll speak up, small operations firms with a core team. I think there's maybe, Izzy also does our HR, but 16 of us. Yeah. And we rely obviously very heavily on the corporate volunteers that Izzy mentioned, and kind of regular volunteers as well.
We have about 50-60.
So we have lots of volunteers, but in contrast, and Sylvester was disappeared, but in Malawi, CEE hire a staff team of about 25 people. So it's double the amount of staff who are actually kind of doing the implementation. And just to give you an idea of scale on both sides. Any questions? Anything?
Can you see the chat
Any
box there?
questions?
It's harder.
Any? Yeah. I think we've heard quite a lot from you guys. This is amazing. So in terms of, let's say, one of your greatest needs at the moment is a lot of volunteers. Is that correct?
Yes, we're always looking for volunteers. Would we say probably top of my kind of Christmas list at the moment is laptops. Laptops is what we need.
I think we brought you about 8.
Okay.
They're quite archaic, but
That's the dream. That's the dream. But yeah, I mean, I suppose in terms of donations, where we get them from, I would say it's probably about 80% to 20% split for corporate to individual. Okay. And just purely because some of the big donors that we get, like we can get 1,700 desktops from one donation, so that skews the numbers slightly. But I would say yeah, it's mostly for donations, but individual donations are in a way better because they've all been kind of checked against our equipment list, which is on our website if anybody wants to.
Great. And what are the challenges that you're currently meeting around in the warehouse just to get the container to go?
Oh, no challenges. This is
Oh, wow.
hello, machine.
currently the challenges this space feel very full.
Yeah.
It has been fuller, but it is logistically moving stuff around and nightmare. In terms of kind of processing the planning that we spend the time in is I think that Biosoft or remote managed. Okay. So that's
Yeah, so we see, particularly with devices that come from businesses, that they have security features on them, which we maybe didn't used to see so much 2 or 3 years ago. And so we're having to adapt and evolve the way that we process them to detect it earlier, to work with the donor as a partner to remove the security locks and make sure that these are suitable for reuse. One thing, just coming back to what you were saying about the difference between individual and business donations. If you look at, say, this stack here, see these are all basically the same machine, and these will have come from one or more businesses. But this is great because we can stack it really easily. We know it's not going to be awkward shapes. It's all going to be the same process that we apply over and over and over to those devices to get them ready. So one thing that's quite good about business donations is when they're all the same type of machine like this, we can work through them pretty quickly, and it also creates spare parts for the ones which don't work. We can use those to repair the ones which then will work. So this is a good donation.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Any comments?
Do you take mobile phones?
we don't, I'm afraid. We used to. I think it was last year the Ministry of Education in Malawi said they're no longer educational. We can only send educational devices.
And you can't reuse any of the materials in a mobile phone now.
No.
So then would you just send them to e-waste?
Yes, yeah. I'm the same with tablets, unfortunately.
They might change their mind again. That
Who
happens.
knows?
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Anything else that you want to add? Any comments? No one has any more questions? Anybody want to All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Steph. So this is us. And you guys, I'm sure you've met. Now you've gotten to know to the Turing Trust here in Scotland, and you've gotten to know Computer Enhanced Education in Malawi. So if you want to get involved, volunteering, if you have computers that you want to donate, you know where to get to them. You know where to get to them. No wasting, just to make sure that they are in proper use again. Thank you so much for joining us, and you have a good afternoon and happy Independence Day, Malawians, as well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.